this was an act of terror and an act of hate. Once again, innocent people were killed in part because someone who wanted to inflict harm had no trouble getting their hands on a gun.
Yeah, we have a pattern now of mass shootings in this country that has no parallel anywhere else in the world.
It's not surprising that today Gabby was doing what she always does, listening to the hopes and concerns of her neighbors. The majority of those who died today were children. Beautiful little kids between the ages of 5 and 10 years old. Somehow this has become routine. The reporting is routine. My response here at this podium ends up being routine. The conversation in the aftermath of it, we've become numb to this.
Those were just some of the times that former President Barack Obama addressed the nation in the immediate aftermath of a mass shooting. Joining me now from Chicago, former Education Secretary under President Obama, Arne Duncan. Secretary Duncan also served as the CEO of Chicago's public schools. Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for your time tonight. I really appreciate it.
Good evening, Kasie. Thank you so much for having me.
I want to start with what has unfortunately become the obvious question. In the face of so many of these shootings and so little action from Washington, what can be done to try and protect schools that doesn't come from the federal government? I mean, what should principals around the nation be doing to try and prevent this from happening again?
Well, let me be really clear, Kasie. I don't think this is a school issue. This is a societal issue. And whether you're going to school, whether you're going to church, whether you're going to a movie theater, whether you're congressional leaders playing baseball on a baseball diamond, unfortunately, this is now part and parcel. It's part of the fabric of American life. And we have to take this on. We have to allow our children and adults to live free of fear. And we as adults have lacked the courage, have lacked the moral courage to do the right thing and keep our children safe. And it's absolutely unacceptable.
One thing that we know now is that there was quite a bit that fell through the cracks from the law enforcement side of things in the Parkland shooting case. They did have potentially some bits of evidence that, when taken together, would suggest that they should have been watching or perhaps caught this before it actually happened. What kind of responsibility do you think law enforcement bears here, and what should change from their perspective to try to prevent these shootings again?
So again, while it's important to focus on, think about this incident, we have to look at the bigger picture. And the fact is, Kasie, when for 10 years, for a decade, our nation had a ban on assault weapons, we had a 43% reductions in murders due to mass shootings, due to massacres. And that's just not some 43% number. Those are real lives. Those are children. Those are brothers. Those are sisters. Those are husbands that are wives. More people lived during that time than have lived since that ban went away. And so we have to take that on. You asked why, Congress is dysfunctional. Let me just talk directly to students across the country. What they're showing now, their moral authority, their courage is simply extraordinary. They're going to lead us where we need to go. They need to know exactly, for their congressmen, their senators, their governors, what's their rank, what's their letter grade that the NRA is giving them. And if your governor has an A from the NRA or an A+ like Governor Scott in Florida, that should be the scarlet letter. They should be absolutely ashamed. We need a lot more congressional leaders who are getting Fs from the NRA. That should be the badge of honor. And our young people, when they march, when they walk out of school, walk right down to your congressman's office, your governor's office, your senator's office. If they have an F from the NRA, applaud them, support them, work hard for them. If they're getting an A, an A+, you need to demand that they never take another dollar again from the NRA.
What do you think it is that makes the NRA and other gun rights organizations, the Gun Owners of America, what makes them so powerful? Why are lawmakers who depend on these NRA grades so fearful of what the NRA might do to them? And why is it that groups that oppose guns, who advocate for gun control, why do they seem powerless in comparison to the NRA?
I don't think they're powerless. I just think the NRA has had deep pockets. So Senator Rubio there in Florida has received north of $3 million. I have no idea how many millions Governor Scott received. President Trump has received, I think, more than $30 million. Kasie, I just think kids' lives are worth a lot more than that. And we have many politicians who have had the courage to stand up to the NRA. We as the public, we as voters, again, Republican, Democrat, I could care less. We just need to support children having a chance to live free of fear, to grow up happy, to grow up safe. And if we vote, if we encourage those who are doing the right thing, this set of children, these teens now, again, what they're doing is extraordinary. They have a chance, I think, not just to make history, but to literally change history. If they make it so receiving money from the NRA, it just basically eliminates you from being a political leader, they will change over the next couple months what has taken obviously far too long, generations to happen. And I'm so hopeful, so optimistic about where their leadership is going to take us.
I want to ask you, sir, as the former leader of the Chicago public school system, you've dealt with quite a bit of violence there. In some ways, it's different than what we've seen with these mass shootings. What are the differences and similarities, and how can you fight these mass shootings? What have you learned from trying to combat this in Chicago?
Yeah, and obviously, whether it's mass shootings or whether it's individual people being shot by handguns, we're dealing with a devastating level of violence now in Chicago. That's actually what I'm devoting my life to going forward, to try and work on that. When I led the Chicago public schools, tragically, very tragically, we lost on average one child every 2 weeks due to gun violence. And when you heard in the clip before I came on, the president's passion and anger, somehow we've normalized these things. Somehow it's okay. And Kasie, this simply doesn't happen in other countries. This is an American-made problem. It only happens in America. It's a man-made problem. It's not a natural disaster, and we just need to fix it like England, like Australia, like Canada, like Japan, like so many other countries have done. The really harsh thing for me to say, but I think it's the truth, other countries just value their children more than we do in Chicago, more than we do in the United States, and that has to change. That has to change, and it has to change now. It's time to act. We have to act.
Former Secretary Arne Duncan, thank you very much for your time tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.